right, we're back with another episode.
That's right.
Episode 24.
Yep. Hello.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you. We've been enjoying it, haven't we, Kevin?
Absolutely. This is a highlight of my week for sure.
It is for me as well. Since we've done this, it's I've wanted to stream more, and I've been streaming since 2020. So yeah, I think it was like June of 2020 I started streaming. So 2 years been streaming, and this is the most fun I've had. But for those who are not watching and seeing, we have a guest today, Mark Tucker.
Hello.
You want to say hi, Mark?
Yeah. Hi, Mark.
Yeah. So for me, when Will and I kind of behind the scenes, just kind of give you the scoop, everybody. We talked about kind of adjusting the show structure a little bit instead of having such a, I guess, multi-part. We're going to tone it down a little bit. We're going to start with some news. We always like the news, the latest and greatest in the voice tech world. But then we really wanted to spotlight some developers and some pretty cool people in the community. And so Will and I got our heads together, started reaching out. And when you offered to jump on, I was like, I think we're in the presence of royalty. Should I bow first? I think that's what it was.
Okay, that's too far.
I was like, not worthy, right? But we're super excited to have you on today. Would love to really kind of ask some questions. Yeah. So do you want to jump right into spilling some beans?
Let's do it.
Great.
So today we don't really have an article per se, but it's just the Astro was actually released to the people who were signed up for it. I've been following some people on social, them living or leaving or tweeting their video blogs on it, and it's pretty interesting. What are your first thoughts, Kevin?
My first thought was Rosie the robot from the Jetsons, if you remember that.
Yes,
I feel like that was my first thought. But also, the more I kept reading about it and kind of seeing, like you said, those videos that people were posting, the more I wanted one. I am absolutely the target audience for this. The smart home, my garage, my lights, my TV, my toaster, my coffee maker, all that stuff. I want it all connected, for better, for worse. That's where I'm at. So nice. To have, do you remember Anchor? They used to have a little robot that was just on your desk, and it was similar to this, but it had the eyes that blinked, and it would kind of do some functions and things. This just takes this to a whole nother level. And to integrate voice with it, I love it. I see so many use cases for it. I know the cost right now, it's $1,000 US. After the introductory price, it's going to be $1,500, which is a cost for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would use it as much as some of the marketing for it. Like the dog treat thrower, if everybody saw that. You can put a dog treat.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, I don't think it's an official Astro add-on type of thing, but you can put a dog treat thrower in the back and just say, a word, just throw out a treat and it'll pew like a cannon.
Nice.
The periscope is pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty neat.
Yeah, I mean, I've been watching some of the videos for it, and I think I need one.
What do you think, Mark?
Yeah, so I the only person I've seen is Sarah Wilson doing some of her videos, and she's done a really good job with the videos and showing off some of the capabilities. In some ways, it's an Echo Show device on wheels. I get that.
Yeah.
But the different things that they've done, they've kind of taken and tried to add a personality, kind of like R2D2 or some of the droids that we're used to maybe in Star Wars, where there's a little bit of personality. There's some chirping, tweeting. There's some facial things, even kind of the way the screen in some ways kind of nods its head or looks around or it flips around and kind of like, is it it's almost like, I'm here, what do you want? I'm paying attention to you. So they've done some really good job on adding those types of things in. And I'm wondering, and I'm not saying it's going to replace pets at all, but I'm wondering for some people who can't have pets, for example, but want some sort of a companion in their home, I could see that there could be different things that would engage the person throughout the day, check in on them. It could be medicine reminder things. It could be, hey, get up and stretch. There could be all kinds of different things where it's more of an active interaction than a kind of a passive waiting for us to initiate it, to initiate the voice assistant. It could be a situation where kind of that changes, and it's just, I think it's a good platform to experiment and investigate what's possible.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I didn't even think about that. That was a good point.
Yeah.
When you brought up the Star Wars robot, but I immediately, I don't know if anyone's played this game, but it's a Star Wars game that has this robot, and it sits on your shoulder. His name is BD1. Are you familiar with that robot?
I know of it. I didn't play the game though. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's the most recent Star Wars game.
Fallen Order or something. Yeah.
Yeah. That is who I think of right there, because it has like the eyes and whatnot, and it changes the I don't know. Anyways.
Well, along the lines of what Mark was saying, I'm going to bring my medical background back into this, like I typically do. Skilled nursing facilities, so your personal care homes and those types of places, I see this being fantastic.
Yeah.
There's some privacy things that need to be always thought about, but to do medication reminders, or in some of your personal, more independent homes, something like that, as it just would go door to door to door and do those reminders with that visual face recognition that's on there. Because one of the features that was listed said something along the lines of like, deliver this sandwich to Kevin, that's why I want it. Now the truth is starting to be, come out, but I see the potential in that thing.
Yeah.
I don't know, and maybe one of you can clarify, is there a night vision on that periscope that pops up?
Well, there must be at least some low light, because it does have a sentry mode where it goes around at night. And I think one of the videos that Sarah showed was just kind of video of strolling around the house at night. So I'm assuming it probably is using the camera that's on the periscope as opposed to something that's built into the screen.
But also, if you remember, Kevin, we actually went over this, how they did this whole mapping. They have the visual aspect, then they also have a map programmed
kind of layered
of your home, layout of your home, and then there's another thing that it uses, but I can't remember that one. But
right, it was kind of
so there's three different ways that it can move around your home and remember what is what and whatnot. So
yeah, and I thought it was interesting because I've recently, within the last year, programmed my Roomba to map out the house, and it goes around and does things, and then I get a map, and on my app I'm like, this area is named this, and this area. I just thought it was kind of interesting where once it maps, you just walk around the house with it, and when you get in a room, you say, this room is the kitchen, this room is the office, and it's using voice to identify where the different locations are, which I thought was next level. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. There's a lot of cool technology that's in this. And And
yeah, and I can see like additional things. I'm sure Amazon is not going to open it up anytime soon, but just imagine if you could customize the face, right? Of you. So like the sounds that it makes, and the different facial things, and kind of like have theme packs or something that you could buy.
Samuel L. Jackson following me around. Yep. That's
I could see that.
Yep. Yeah.
Have Sheldon from Big Bang Theory.
Yep. That'd be perfect. It would be perfect. Bazinga. Yeah, I'm excited for this. Am I going to pick it up? One, I'd have to get an invite, first of all. And two, I would have to convince my wife. I'm not sure which one of those is harder to get, but probably. But yeah, I'm interested in this. I think this is really cool technology. Fits right up my alley. I don't believe that it would be a novelty. That's what I would be afraid of for me, is that the cool factor would wear off after a minute or two, and then I'm just not using it to its full potential. I think that would worry me, because I'll be honest, I spent $1,500 on a cell phone, that I hope to have for years and years and years, and that I'm using all the time. So that is, to me, money well spent. And I would like to think that this would be too. These day one products are almost, I don't want to say like experimental, but they kind of are.
Yeah.
Kind of gauging, like the Echo frames, those were the same way. But those made it to version 2 and things like that. So I'm going to keep my eye on this. I'm going to keep my eye on it.
Yeah, I agree. Kevin, I'm going to keep my eye on it too and see where it goes.
Yep. Same.
So my last question. Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
My last question is, do you think it would be a little bit jarring that you get used to the little beeps and the chirps and those things, that it's normal personality, and then to open up a skill, do you think that would be jarring at all? To hear like Cards of Wonder pop up, or not really? Do you think you can transition between the two, almost like an immersive experience of it's following you around as your buddy, and then you're going to switch gears into that almost
playing a game?
Yeah. I don't know. I'd like to see.
Maybe they've avoided that problem a little bit by having it just be beeps and not talking to you, not like Jarvis or something like that.
Right.
So maybe they've done. Maybe they've kind of solved that for a little bit. For me, but yeah, you still kind of have the whole thing. So it kind of has a personality, and then it's this skill, but this skill is using Alexa's voice, or this skill is using Matthew's voice, or this skill is using, So then it's all. It kind of seems like that you kind of lose the personality. It's kind of, at that point, it becomes a screen that's something's running on it. Could be a video for all we know, right?
Right.
And so, that's kind of been a stream. Though I did think I did like the idea. You said something about walking around. I do like the idea of maybe pairing it with some sort of a game, but you have to keep moving.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those take 10 minutes out of your hour to go walk around and stretch, so you're not 10 hours at the computer or whatever. Right.
Exactly.
So nice.
Exactly.
I could see.
Take Astro for a walk.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then it's like asking you questions or whatever, or maybe even it's a scavenger hunt type of thing where you have to go around the house and find certain things, or like take me to this, or take me. And so you like you have to find wherever that thing is in the house, and then show it, and the Astro confirms, yep, that's it, that's a spatula. And then you.
That would be fantastic. Yeah. Agree 100%.
Nice.
Cool. So something to keep our eye on.
Yeah, for sure. Alrighty. So our next Next one will be a Beaningful conversation. We'll have a little conversation with Mark Tucker here. Get to know him a little bit. Pick his brain on some items that he's doing and what he's done. And yeah, or if there's anything that you want to say at any given time, let us know. Or anything that you want to not cover, let me know that as well.
All right.
So far, I mean, you're very active on Twitter. You have your own YouTube channel with Alan, which we also will have on eventually, which is called Two Voice Devs, not to be confused between two beings and two voice devs.
Right.
Two different channels. But and it looks like it's a podcast as well, correct?
Correct. Yeah. So we just finished up episode 100. So we're coming up on our 2-year anniversary of Two Voice Devs.
Congrats.
Alan and I.
Congrats.
So, yeah, thanks. It's been fun. It's kind of like one of those things where we just started doing it during the pandemic. It was one of those things. I had met Alan briefly, maybe for like 10, 15 minutes at a conference, and we talked about some different things. And but it was fairly brief. And then pandemic happened, and Voice Lunch started, and I missed a number of the initial Voice Lunches, but I started going, and I just found this whole group of people that really helped me connect with people where it was really hard during that time. And one of the people I've connected with again was Alan, and we kind of just were talked some more, and I got a little prodding, and we just like, hey, let's we talked. I think we talked about it a couple times. Like, yeah, we should probably we could do a podcast. You could talk about your Google stuff, and I could talk about Alexa stuff, and anything else we're working on, and just kind of a developer podcast. And then I think we ended up filming a promo for one of the Voice Lunches. It was kind of our responsibility to do that. And so we both got on a video call and we did the promo, and we realized we know how to get together and film something. We've already proved that it works. Do we want to try this? And so we did. We just kind of like, sure, let's kick it off and try it out. And it's been going for a while now. So
yeah, that's fantastic.
That is.
That's kind of like us, Will, in a way. We kind of met up a little bit during the pandemic through other streams and things whenever everybody was just trying to stay active and stay,
sane.
Connected. I was going to say connected, but sane. Yeah, that worked too.
I'll go sane, Will.
During that whole time period. So yeah, that's fantastic.
That is.
So my question would be, why voice? Like, what was that? Oh, this is neat. Or what got you into voice?
What got me started? Interesting. So we could do the short or we could do the longer. So kind of short term, what got me into voice was I stumbled across it one day that there was this thing called Alexa and that you could program for it. And, it's using Node.js, which is server-side JavaScript. I've done web development. Most of my background though was more in C# and .NET and some various flavors of web engines, but backend or services or even desktop, Windows Phone for a little bit.
Yeah.
So just a long history of C# and .NET. So it was just kind of interesting where I just hit it. So I found it in 2016, so like fall of 2016 is when I discovered Alexa existed. At that point, there were 3,000 skills in the skill store. Imagine that. And so I wasn't original by any means. I came in, a year into it or something. And at the end of that year, I think is when, I think when like Google announced that they were doing something. And so things just kind of happened, and I just wanted to learn about it. So I had to teach myself more about Node.js, and I didn't know anything about AWS cloud. And so I had to learn about, Lambdas and DynamoDB and S3 and, IAM and all kinds of stuff. And so while I was trying to figure all that stuff out, I have been a fan of open source, and I just wanted to go ahead and try to share some of the stuff that I was doing so that maybe those that were coming behind would not have such a rough time. There were some things that you had to look up, or you had to find it in multiple different places, or there wasn't a good starter template. So those were types of things I did. I started an Alexa meetup. I'm here in Phoenix, Arizona. And so I created an Alexa meetup at that point. And some just different things happened where I hit it just right. And by the spring of 2017, I was selected as an Alexa champion. It was like the second batch of Alexa champions that they had, and just kind of that opened up some opportunities, and some good, some bad, but I had opportunity where I could go really deep and do voice full time, and then that fell apart. And so then I went back to consulting and doing, .NET C# stuff. And then got involved with another startup just kind of as a contractor, and then got, something else. And I did some more voice stuff. And so it's just kind of been, just taking it as it goes. But what interested me about voice was I was just intrigued with being able to talk to something and have it respond. And in some ways, get rid of all the clutter of all the other stuff.
Right.
I'm okay at web development. It's been a long time since I've done web development now, so I'm sure things have changed and stuff. So in some ways, it was just nice to not have to worry about this pixel goes over here, or this is, I have to worry about, what browser I'm running on, or So I've been through that for years and years, and I remember back when I first started, I was doing Netscape versus Internet Explorer and the differences there, and server-side programming is all that you had for websites, and I'm just like, man, it was just nice. Plus, I've always liked Star Trek and the idea of being able to talk to the computer. Like War Games was one of my favorite movies growing up. So there's that. There was just a number of different kind of social influences over the years. But interestingly, if you've rewind when I very first learned how to program, I was probably about 15. So early 1980s, I got Texas Instruments 99 4A home computer for Christmas. I think it was $99. And they were selling it for less than Texas Instruments was spending to make it. But I got that, and I started learning it, and I stayed up all that day reading the manual, trying something. Pretty much stayed up all night just trying to figure it out. And it was a creative outlet. I would think of something, and I could, if I met the parameters of how to do that, then it was recreated on the screen for me. And I was like, wow, this is really pretty cool. And part of the things that I got was Texas Instrument. If you remember, they had the speak and spell, or So they had done voice, or text to speech, at least. And so there was an expansion module for my TI that was a text to speech module.
Okay.
And you could have it say about 80 different words or phrases. And so that was kind of actually my very first opportunity to do something with voice. And then I used that same home computer throughout junior high and high school to do different science fair projects. I would end up doing some sort of a program. I did a wildcat well oil drilling simulation kind of game or simulator. I did how would you connect your computer to a model rocket for a missile guidance system? Just crazy stuff.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
But one of the years I actually tried to do like a speech recognition, and it didn't work. It didn't work at all. I had a neighbor that was an engineer, and and they had like a what did he have? He had a digital to analog converter chip, and I would use my parallel port on my computer as input, and I would trap that and try to capture the wave over time. But anyway, it at least got far enough that it actually took me to the International Science Fair in Texas.
Oh,
so
wow.
I've had a couple of different starts and stops with speech, and so when it kind of came around, I'm like, hey, I'm almost there. I just have to learn this A, B, and C to actually have it. Then it was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's go for it. And I just loved it.
Nice.
Sure. I've loved it ever since.
That is neat. It's always fun to hear everybody's background. Like for me, medical, and then jumping into this world, and it's just pretty cool.
So. For sure. I had it. Did you want us to share your GitHub repository, or
sure?
Did you not? Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
I had it on deck.
Yeah, you can go ahead and do that. Like I say, it's on social media, at Mark Tucker, GitHub, Two Voice Devs, either on YouTube or on various podcast providers. So just lots of different ways that you can see kind of what I'm playing with.
So you had sorry.
Go ahead,
Will. So you had gotten to this point where you felt comfortable jumping into voice. You became an Alexa champion, did some consulting work, things like that. Where did you take it? I guess maybe not take it, but what was your passion during that time period? Did you focus on the gaming aspects, or did you have personal use cases that you wanted to fill? What really pushed your development? What pushed your development in certain directions, I guess, is my question. My very first skill was just one of those fact skills, right? You trade out you trade out the array of items for something else, right? And I don't even remember what it was that I did.
Mine's still live. Is
it? Congratulations.
V1 to V2, I did it last year.
There you go.
So let's see. So that was one of them. Something else I did that kind of got a new life was Picture Guesser. So when I first started, so I was co-founder of a company called Voice XP. Okay. I don't know if you've heard of that. And so I was the dev that was there. So kind of got thrown in, chest deep into trying to figure this out, doing a lot of some of the things that we did for wrong or right was trying to proof out, say, hey, this is what an Alexa skill would look like if we did it for this. And so I did a whole bunch of demos. I did one for like the Harlem Globetrotters. I did one for Tesla. I did one for, and a lot of these were like, we just did them. And then we went out and tried to, to show it off, kind of this portfolio of skills that we created to people that might be interested. In some cases, it really could have been the Harlem Globetrotters. In other cases, it could have been, car dealership, real estate company. But it was that year in 2017 that the Echo Show came out. And so just jumped in right. And everything I did with screens. And so one of the first games that I created was something called Picture Guesser. It's one of those tile puzzle games where you've got your, 14 or 12 tiles or what is it, 4 by 16 or 9 or whatever tiles, and it covers a picture, and then you uncover it and you try to guess the picture, and once you guess it, you get points for every tile that was still on the screen. So that was really pretty challenging because you really just had an image. So I had to do some like server-side processing with an SVG to regenerate the image that was the tile overlay, and you couldn't tap on the tiles on the image because there really wasn't. It was just an image.
Right.
And so you had to do it with voice, but then like monetization came out about that same time, and so we were doing. I worked to do selling like different puzzle packs for that. So just recently, I guess the last year, maybe was that whenever the end of life of display templates was, then like maybe this time last year was it that I went ahead and converted it to APL. So Picture Gusser has a new lease on life, completely redone from what was the original Alexa Skills Kit version 1 to Jovo version 3 at this time, with APL, with interactivity, and complete with purchasing and new game packs. So that was that. That's one of the things that I did. But yeah, initially for the first startup, it was just a lot of kind of business cases or how you would use Alexa in different scenarios. And so that's kind of where I really, good news is I got to spend a lot of hours head down programming and learning Alexa and trying different things and pushing the edge. And the bad news is I spent a lot of hours, head down pushing. The only person, sometimes feeling like things were like falling in on me as far as the workload and on customer calls, trying to help them understand the strategic direction of things. So that's kind of how it started. And then the next startup I joined is a company that's still out there called Soar, and they're a life coach, kind of executive coach company. That's kind of their primary focus. But we created a skill and kind of a whole back-end system there where you could upload audio, whether it be it started out as just audio, and then it could be video, and then it could be the video from your Zoom meetings, and it would ingest that and run it through transcribe and get all the text of that. If like Zoom gives you a transcription, but other things don't, so it would generate a transcription. It would put it in a search engine, and then you could query. And what it would do is it would break up different segments, and so you could search, and it would like take you right to that paragraph in the code and into the article or the conference talk or whatever. You could search by things by person, by what type of like if it was a conference talk, if it was a book. We were looking at using that for like onboarding, for sales training or other things. So really got in depth back end stuff, learning all kinds of stuff with lambdas, and then queuing, and then step functions, and then event bridge, and then transcribe, and sentiment analysis, and like, well, what if we start off with just text? Oh, let's do poly. And so just all kinds of things, which was really a lot of fun and crazy. And they're still out there doing stuff. That's there's a mobile app for iOS and Android that you can use. But we always kind of thought about this, like what if you had your own personal library of content that you cared about that was instantly searchable by your voice, and you could add your own content to it, and you can share that with other people, and so that's kind of where that went. And then I've been senior technical director here at Rain for about 1.5 years now. Okay. Yeah, and that's a lot of fun. I've worked on some Google Assistant stuff, some Alexa. I've worked on a lot of strategic partnerships, proof of concepts, technical proofing out of taking partners' APIs and seeing how well they'll adapt to voice, and then now with custom assistant stuff. So that's just a lot of fun things. Lots of variation and different things I get to do, and busy, but I'm really enjoying it.
That's so you mentioned Jovo.
Yeah.
And I know, and I've seen it in many of your other videos, you talk about it before. Do you use it in your daily coding for voice? If
Yes,
so,
it is my primary go-to. They're up to version 4 of Jovo, and I've gone through versions 1 through through 4. So it's been 4+ years that I've done Jovo, and I do that for all of my personal stuff. And there's cases where we might be required to use a certain SDK or certain tools or something for something, depending on our clients and customers. But when it's a choice, I choose Jovo.
Nice. So I'm not really familiar with them too much, besides their tool for Chrome in the dev console. But do you utilize it for because of you can write the code once and use it for other multiple applications?
Yeah, that's how I started. Is that with Jovo, it was one of a few libraries where you could write your code and share a lot of it across multiple platforms. So if I was starting off with a Google action, then I could later choose to do an Alexa skill or vice versa.
Nice.
They're even experimented with doing Bixby, but then Jovo's kind of evolved over time, and so instead of just having those two main platforms, especially with this rework of version 4, there's quite a bit of difference to how it's structured, but in some ways it's more disconnected. But if you think about your process of receiving a request in via voice that ends up turning into that utterance turns into an intent with slots or entities, however you want to call them, and then calling some sort of a code, which could be making API calls. It could be knowing what your context is in a certain point of conversation. Could be grabbing values from session or user storage, and in the end, having output. That whole kind of pipeline of request to dialogue to output kind of thing is something that's common for a lot of different platforms.
Right.
And so what they've done is there's a step at the very beginning where most everything's coming in as JSON. So there's a JSON format that comes in, and it's able to sniff and kind of detect that says, oh, this is an Alexa request. So it turns that Alexa request into kind of more of a more generalized. So it turns it basically into intents and entities, and then you can do all this work on it, and you don't have to worry about necessarily what platform it's that you're using it, because the way that you code it is you're coding it the same way. It doesn't matter what platform it is.
Makes sense.
But you might hit certain situations where, oh, I want to make this APL, so I want it to be Alexa, or I want to use some sort of an API or some feature that's just specific to a platform. Well, that's still available to you too. So
okay, that's what my next question was.
Yeah, so it's not least common denominator. You don't lose anything, but what you do is you gain, depending on what you're doing, you could get up to 70, 80, 90% code reuse across multiple platforms.
Nice.
And so then the very last step is taking the output that you formatted, so like the text to speech and the display, and it turns that into a platform specific response. So now it turns that back into an Alexa response, and if you're on Alexa, and returns it back. And they've done that same thing. So your client could be like a website that's a tap to talk, or it could be a mobile app that you've got the microphone, and it will still go through the whole same process. And then at the end, they've got Jovo has their own like web format, but you fill out, this is what you'd say, and this is like an image and a display and a card or something. And when it comes back to the client, then now you have the access to information, and all of a sudden now you're using Jovo to create basically a custom assistant, right?
Okay.
So
Nice.
There's just a lot of cool things that you can do. You can plug into Facebook Messenger, you can plug into chatbots, you can plug into lots of different things and use that same basic structure across multiple projects.
All right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Give me something to look up now. Oh, thank you. I'm going to have to look into this.
No, I was looking at it this afternoon. It was really interesting, and I need to look into it more. So thank you for using it and promoting it as much as you do. So because it looks like a pretty neat tool.
Well, and one of the cool things is that a lot of the things in there are pluggable. So like you want some sort of a user state storage provider. It could be DynamoDB, it could be MongoDB, it could be Cosmos DB, it could be, so they've abstracted that piece into a plugin. So now you have a whole choice of plugins, or if you don't have one for the database that you want, you could write a plugin in probably 200-300 lines of code maybe, and now you've got a plugin that goes against something else that you same thing with automatic speech recognition. You could use Lex or natural language understanding. You could also use Lex, or you could use Razo. You could plug in these different things into this pipeline, and in some cases it just kind of abstracts the complexity away. And that's one of the things I enjoy doing too, is writing plugins for Jovo.
Okay. Neat.
So I guess my question, with how your history and how you have your head down, you got your finger on the pulse, where do you see voice in the next 3 years? I would typically say like 5 years, but I think this is crazy. So it's moving so fast.
Yeah.
Do you have this? I guess maybe I have two questions now. Is where do you see it, and where do you want to see it?
Interesting. So, in some ways, from a developer perspective, it moves too slow.
Agreed.
For me. There's things I think I wanted back in, what is it, 2019. I'm like, if we could have this, and it's 2022 now, and we still don't have this, and so in some ways, 3 years is like, and it's not going to change a lot in 3 years as far as maybe the development, technology. We've got some interesting things happening because conversational actions or Google Actions are going away.
Right.
In a year, they'll be gone, and so some of the cross-platform stuff that was a benefit for Jovo is going to go away. But but they've already gotten past that point where it's not just Alexa and Google anymore. It's Alexa and Google and anything else, all these other things that you can plug in.
Mm-hmm.
So I see myself using some of the same tools that I'm using today to do that. What else do I see? I do see more that things are happening more on the phone. That's kind of Siri's focus. That's where Google is putting a lot of their focus. Alexa has capabilities, sending something to the phone, or using voice commands, and taking it to different parts of your mobile app. So I see that still happening. But I also see I'm seeing a lot more. Maybe it's just because Rain focuses quite a bit on it, but I'm seeing more people ask for custom assistant type stuff.
Right.
That things that are outside of Alexa, and that's because, one, they get to have more control over it, and two, they own the data from end to end, and there's a number of different advantages that companies have if they go with their own custom assistant. And so I'm seeing more of that, and that could be, like I say, it could be a chatbot, it could be speaking to a web app, it could be a mobile app, it could be custom hardware, it could be various form factors of custom hardware. There's a whole range of different things that you could get, or that would be classified as a custom assistant.
Absolutely.
So I
So
see
instead of
more custom assistant stuff. Yeah.
so instead of everyone has their own website, they're going to have their own voice app or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know that. I don't see everybody having it, and that's
Okay.
I can see like Bank of America has Erica. I can see there might be some certain brands. It could be either bigger, well-known brands, or it could be smaller but want to have really tight integration with their customers or users or patients or whatever it is. I could see custom assistants being used in those areas too. And I haven't really seen it take off as much as it really could be. And maybe part of this is that we're not really getting back to the office a lot, but I still think there's potential in having custom assistants that would be something that you could use in the office for productivity or information. And also at home. So kind of the Alexa for business, Alexa for hospitality, Alexa for, do they have residential? What's the new one?
Residentials. Yeah.
I can see that. I think that there's going to be more integrations with like your utility companies or, just trying to get some economies and some goodwill and relationships with customers for things that they use, on a regular basis.
I really thought that Cortana with Microsoft was going to take off in that productivity kind of space. Like you were saying, your workspace following through to calendars and meeting events, Teams integration, all that. I really thought that was where they were headed with that. But
I thought so too.
Yeah.
So I was surprised when they de-emphasized that, but not too surprised because I'd done Windows Phone before.
Right. Rest in peace. I know.
And I really liked my Windows Phone.
I loved it. I had, that's a whole side story. I had a ton of it. But I guess maybe my last question is, so for developers who are not familiar with voice technology, where do you feel is a good place to start learning? I know there's some great tutorials that Amazon has put out, different YouTube things. What would your recommendation for just kind of getting their feet under them be?
Yeah, I guess it depends on what it might depend some on what language they're using. If they're,
sure.
But you could use .NET to create Alexa skills. You could use Python. You can there's lots of different things that you could do. So you could find a framework that matches the language, but you may or may not find tutorials or documentation. So depending on what you select, the most that's out there that I see is if you're using Node.js and using something like Jovo or the Alexa Skills Kit SDK. So I think there's lots of videos or documentations or tutorials or code samples. Sometimes my favorite things are just finding something on GitHub and pulling it down and compiling it. But then you can also see that something that's 8 months, a year old may in some ways already be outdated. It may not have the latest libraries and things. So I'm just saying, if take whatever knowledge you currently have, even if you're fairly new to tech, there's lots of different things that you can do. You can bring to this community that you can influence based on your experience, and you can try things out. I'm just excited whenever I see somebody else creating something, because I'm like, what's their take on it, or where's their experience, or where are they coming from, and so I really enjoy watching what people do and being surprised and amazed in a lot of times in what types of things they're coming out. Or like, oh, I wish I would have thought of that idea, or that's really good. That's really pretty cool. So there's plenty of things that you can contribute. I would say just jump in and start doing it, and find some good resources online to ask questions to, and I just see where it takes you.
Yep, absolutely. That's solid advice. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well said.
Did you have any other questions, Will? Because I have a final last question. Final last question.
A final.
It better be short because
right.
Game.
That's true. Yeah. Okay. So when you're not coding, when you're not enveloped in the voice world,
that is good.
Any favorite hobbies?
Oh man.
I asked.
Yeah. No, it is a tough question. I could work, my week, and then I'm excited about something, and I could still code on the weekends. And I know that it's not good, and I don't expect anybody else to do that. I've been doing this for 30 plus years, and I just like what I do. But that being said, this last week, I had a lot going on at work. It was a particularly rough week, and I purposely grabbed a paperback book, nice. No screen, and I just started reading.
Yep.
And so I don't do that enough, but it was a good recharge. So I encourage people to get off their screens, even though they might enjoy solving a different problem than the problems that you're required to solve during the week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Fantastic. Cool.
Nice.
Sounds good. I'll let you take it away, Will.
Alrighty. So we are going to transition into our it's not really a taste test, but this is what do we call it, and we are going to play. I completely forgot what I said I was going to play. Oh yeah, okay. We're going to play Snatchword.
All right, I like Snatchword. Good game.
So did you use Jova to create Snatchword? I
did.
Nice.
So Jova version 3, yeah. And it's interesting, kind of sad, because one of the cool things, or what I wanted to experiment with, is I wanted it to be a game where it was, I guess it's a variation of massive multiplayer online, and the fact that multiple players can play in the same space at the same time. Mm-hmm. So the premise of the game is that you get so many actions during a day, and it has to recharge before you can get more, and you can find a word and snatch it, and then that's yours. It's kind of like the library. It checks it out to you, mm-hmm. And you get points based on what letters are in the word and how big the word is. But it's also based on how many times other people have asked for that word. Right. And so then you have the option that if you own the word, that by just a little bit before, like the day before it expires, you have the option to renew it. But if you forget to renew it, then somebody else can snatch it from you. And so then it's their word. And so there's a leaderboard. And the idea is that everybody's vying in the same space for the same words. And it could be cross-platform. So you could be on Alexa in the US and play against somebody on Alexa in the UK, playing against somebody using a Google Assistant in Canada or whatever. And so they're all playing the same game, same leaderboard. So that's kind of the idea that I was trying to kind of spec out and see how it worked. Mm-hmm. So
very cool. Before we jump into it, is Bixby still available?
It is not. So okay. I did do all the coding for Bixby, and I got to the point to submit it, and there were some submission issues.
Okay.
More on the Bixby side. That was kind of kind of volatile. There's some things that weren't quite working right, and so I
Okay.
never quite got it. I got like 90% coded. I was fully expecting Bixby to come out, and I probably need to update the website because it's misleading that it supports Bixby. But it was originally going to be 3 platforms around the world, same game, but I didn't quite.
I actually remember you when you made this. I think you were on maybe like Alexa and Friends or something like that.
Yeah, maybe.
But anyways, let's get into it. Play Snatch Word. No audios. Oh.
I don't hear audio. No.
I don't hear audio either.
Okay.
Find supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. There's still no sound. What's going on? Is it maybe it's something with my
because there's definitely sound.
I know there is.
Yeah.
No, it's someone already has it. And I'm pretty sure we have sound enabled. Oops. Watch it. I go back to it. No, it's I don't know what I was thinking. It's definitely going to be this.
Yeah.
Let me see if what my sound is. Oh, that's Wi-Fi.
Sometimes I sing during this.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel the silence. I'll start singing a little bit. So you're in for a treat, Mark.
There's no.
Yeah, I don't hear the little chime either. So
yeah,
even from this part. So that's all right. We'll figure out our tech issues and we'll definitely give it a shot. We'll try it out. But yeah.
Always have tech issues.
It's crazy because my very first printer was a dot matrix Gorilla Banana printer with the perforation sides, for the feed, and printers. It's even now there's still like it's hit or miss. You try to print something and you're like, oh, driver's not found. Wait, I printed last week and it was just fine, and now it's not, or has to wake up, or it's disconnected from the Wi-Fi, or just like printing should be, or like I've sent something but somehow it's like stuck in the spool, or just
my magenta is low, but I'm printing black and white, but you can't do it anyway. Like one of those things. But yeah, it's always fun troubleshooting. Sometimes you learn from it.
Yeah.
But
besides what this platform that we stream on StreamYard, the being able to share a screen sometimes allows you to have audio. There we go. I'm getting audio now. We just had to restart and unplug everything and unplug back in.
Jiggle the toilet handle, whatever it is, right?
Yeah. We got ticks now.
Okay.
Sweet. Open snatch word.
Player, helpful Banshee 2704, thanks for playing more Snatch Word. Your score is 319 points. You have 5 rechargeable actions remaining. What do you want to do now?
Any words that we should look up?
Try apple. I know it's probably taken, but I always like to
Find apple.
Innocent Samurai 0042 owns Apple worth 1888
Whoever Innocent
points.
Samurai also
Try
has
and snatch it after Thursday
see.
through
supercalifragilistic.
Yeah,
Thursday.
they've been at the top of the
Yeah.
leaderboard for
Central
many,
Daylight
many
Time.
months.
You
They're
have 5
serious about it.
Snatch or renew actions available. What do you want to do now?
Zimbabwe.
I've searched for that before. Zimbabwe. Oh, find Zimbabwe.
You have 3 main actions.
Find Zimbabwe.
The word Zimbabwe has an expired hold and is worth 31 points.
Yeah, we'll snatch it.
Quick,
There you go.
try and snatch it from the librarian. You have 5 rechargeable snatch or renew actions available.
Snatch. Yeah. I love
You
the
sneaky snatcher.
visuals on this.
You now
It's
own
really nice.
Zimbabwe.
Thanks.
You have
They
4
were really
rechargeable
not that
actions.
hard.
What do you want to do now?
Is this a video or is it a
APL with animation.
okay, is it an animation?
Yes.
What do you want to do?
Kevin, give me a word.
Leopard.
Find leopard.
There we go.
You are in luck. Snatch, leopard, and it can be yours.
Oh, sweet.
It's worth 15 points.
Snatch. It's
I
not the
just had
biggest
a-
word, but
I just had a realization though that I'm helping you out. So this doesn't help me in our battle
Is a
here.
new word. 10
True.
bonus points plus 15 word points is a total of 25 points.
sweet.
You have 3 rechargeable snatch or renew actions available. What do you want to do next?
Constitutionality.
Find constitutionally. What did you say?
Constitutionality.
Oh, a constitution.
The word constitution
This
is worth
available.
26 points. But the librarian has let the hold expire. You should try and snatch it. You have 3
Snatch.
You snatched Constitution, and it is now yours. You have 2 recharge.
Find orange.
And so, Mark, you also have ISPs on here, correct? Like a
Innocent
power
Samurai
pack. Is that right?
042 owns orange
Yeah.
with 120
A
points.
power player, I think
Try
is
and
what it's
snatch
called.
it after Tuesday, July 5th at 5:37 p.m. Central Daylight Time. You have 2 rechargeable snatch or renew actions available.
Find yogurt.
Somebody's hungry, I think.
See if Zazzle
Yogurt
is available.
has an expired hold
Zazzle.
of 13 points. Quick, try and snatch it from the librarian.
Find Zazzle.
Ooh.
The word Zazzle has an expired hold and is worth 33 points.
Snatch.
Congratulations. You snatched, Zazzle. Congratulations. You have earned the ZZ Topper badge worth 22 points. You have one snatch or renew action left. What
That's
next?
awesome. I didn't know you had badges. That's cool. Snatch yogurt. Oh, I said yogurt, but okay. I'll take it. Nice.
The word, yoga, is a new word. 10 bonus points plus 10 word points is a total of 20 points. You have 0 rechargeable snatch or renew actions available. Your next action will be
Exit. Alrighty, so that was Snatch Word, everyone.
Yep.
It's fun times.
Yeah, great visuals.
Yeah, thanks. It's interesting because it's kind of evolved a little bit. I really thought that a lot more people would play it, and so it would be a lot more kind of like dynamic, and you would snatch something from somebody else, and unfortunately, I think I get dozens of monthly active users.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Dozens?
Yes, dozens. Yeah, it's not. It's
oh my
it's
gosh!
really,
Yeah, I figured it would be at least 50
yeah.
per day.
It's sad, but it's hard. So it just kind of proves that not all every game can get traction, and sometimes it's just doesn't resonate with some people, or it doesn't just hasn't bubbled up to the top yet with different things. And so like the librarian feature, I just originally thought, well, people are going to try a word, and if they don't get the word, then they're going to come back and try it and snatch it, and different things like that, and that wasn't happening. And so people were like kind of hoarding words that they could just because what I wanted to do is make it a choice. I only have a certain number of actions, so do I want to add a new word, or do I want to renew one of the words that I have that I think is valuable? How do I want to use my resources?
Right. Strategy.
And so that wasn't happening. So I created the concept of the librarian. So it's a process that runs periodically and checks for, I think if somebody has let their word expire for a week or more, then the librarian collects it.
Okay.
And so,
okay. I like
and
that.
so now nobody, so they don't get the points for words that they just let stagnate. The librarian takes them, and then the librarian, then you're able to steal it from the librarian. It kind of like feeds it back into the game where everybody else is able to take it back.
Right. Right. That's clever. Yeah. Cool.
For sure. Neat. Cool. Like it. Alrighty. So last thing, we normally leave on a our bean of the week, which is just like something that we feel is important to share with everyone. It could be a show, it could be a game, it could be a new pair of shoes.
Just something to wind down on, and kind of doesn't have to be tech related, but just something that we use, we enjoy, something that others may also jump into.
Yep.
But did you have one this week, Will?
I did, but you can. Well, no, I'll go because mine isn't that exciting. But so mine is actually a bank.
Okay.
We switched over to SoFi or SoFi, I like to call it, but my wife always corrects me. It's SoFi, social finance, I believe it's called. We switched over to them mainly because we were getting 1.25% on our checking and savings account, which is huge. And they just bumped it up to 1.5 on checking and savings accounts. So I'm like dove in both feet. I moved all my investments over here at the wrong time because I guess there's no good time with this humongous investment problem. But anyways, moved everything over here. I have direct deposit set up and everything over here, almost everything. But I just love it. They have a lot of financial. They have consultants that you can talk to for free. Which
cool.
I mean, if you just want to have like a quick question, like I have no idea. I don't have a question, but just a quick question. You can send it to them, and you can also there is like free career things as well. There's plenty of stuff that makes it worthwhile. So I'm all for SoFi.
Nice.
Very cool.
Yeah. Well, so my bean of the week is kind of related to what you said, Mark, about just kind of taking some time to just get away from the screens, unplug a little bit. This year, I've been trying to focus more on going hiking, more outdoors activities. And we got a puppy. So this week, Silver Lab. So we're doing more hiking. And this week, my bean of the week is a dog travel water bottle. So it actually can hold food and water in it, but I use it just for water at the moment. And it has a collapsible, I don't know if you can pull it up, Will, so I don't have to use all my weird hand motions. But it has a collapsible bowl. And, oh, there we go. As that I can just dump the water into.
Neat.
But it hangs right on my hiking backpack. I have one of those like, camelback type of things. So I'm hydrated. The dog's hydrated. Pretty good. I'm happy with it. It's sturdy enough. It holds up because I'm pretty hard on stuff. Apparently I walk into trees a lot when I'm hiking. So, yeah.
You use your eyes, right?
Sometimes.
Oh, okay.
But, yeah, I'm super happy with this. Durable, highly recommended. I enjoy it. It gets me outside and keeps everybody going. So definitely a recommend from me.
Cool.
But was there anything that you wanted to end with, Mark? Anything you wanted to plug? Anything you wanted to just talk about that I didn't ramble enough about?
No, I don't know. This has just been a lot of fun. I really appreciate the opportunity to be on and get to know both of you a little bit more and just hang out and talk about one of my favorite topics. This has been a lot of fun.
Awesome.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate it as well.
Definitely.
So, you can find me, Kevin, at KJ Evans 2787 if you want to have a conversation about anything and everything, particularly voice or even collapsible dog food bowls. So,
and you can at me on Twitter, WRONGHOLT. And once again, Mark is at Mark Tucker. And that is all I have for today. So we'll be back next Tuesday after 4th of July. So happy 4th of July, everyone. And everyone that's in America, that is. Happy 4th of July. And stay safe.
Take care.
Take care. Yep.
Bye, everyone.